Awesome. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Today is a normal day. Do now, oral drill, doc analysis, and discourse. You guys should have your Desmos pulled up. Obviously, you're already there. Your lecture notes from the 22nd and your reference sheet to tab 7.2. When it's time for the oral drill, I will send out those reference sheets just in case. I'll do that right now. So if you have a paper copy of your reference sheets, make sure you have them. If you do not, the link to the reference sheets is in the chat now. Should say classroom.google. So you should have that alongside your February 22nd notes to help complete the do now and the oral drill. I'm going to restrict us to the do now slide. And we are going to have 4 minutes to read this excerpt on the New Deal and answer the question on the right-hand side of your Desmos screen. You have 4 minutes to do this. Go ahead and get started. 4 minutes. Chat me if you have any questions. Three more minutes on the do now. If you're just joining us, the Desmos link is in the chat. Shout out to Giovanni for her urgency in responding to the do now prompt. "90 more seconds to complete the do now. So make sure we're responding to the do now prompt. We have 1 more minute. 30 more seconds to finish your responses. Awesome job including both its successes and its failures. Great, and that is time on the do now. We're now going to transition to our oral drill. Get you guys onto that screen. You have your chart with your 4 terms. Take the next 3 minutes to utilize your resources to identify the definitions of these terms and be prepared to come back together for an oral drill. 3 minutes, go ahead and get started. Awesome urgency from Sierra. Two more minutes. Make sure you're jotting down the definitions for these key terms so that way you have it as a reference during the oral drill. One more minute. Okay, I'm going to give us 30 more seconds to finish jotting down those definitions and using those resources. Great, let's go ahead and get started with our oral drill. What is the difference between the first New Deal and the second New Deal? Kamaya.
The first New Deal promised to help the American public with direct government involvement. In the second New Deal, FDR had more power and authority, so he was able to enforce more social welfare, support of unions, control of businesses and higher taxes.
Awesome. What are the first 100 days of FDR's presidency, Jalasia?
Hold on. That was in 1993, and he passed more I don't know how to say the word, legislation than any Congress.
Awesome. And yes, you said that we're completely correct. Now, what are some criticisms of the New Deal? What are some criticisms of the New Deal? Giovanni. Sorry, Giovanni, are you able to unmute and share? Giovanni might be having some technical issues. Sierra, can you jump in? What are some criticisms of the New Deal?
Didn't they say that it like didn't apply to everyone?
Awesome. Yes, that's a major criticism of the New Deal. What did conservatives say? What did conservatives say the New Deal didn't do, Sierra?
I think they said that it like didn't apply to like African Americans and women.
That's what liberals said. Jump in for some merits, raise your hand. What were conservative criticisms of the New Deal? For merits, what are conservative criticisms of the New Deal? It's in your notes, it's like the last slide. Go ahead, Jalasia.
They felt like he did too much.
Yes, too much in regards to what? Like, what did they think about his power?
They felt like he didn't have enough power to do the things that he did.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. And awesome job to Jalasia for jumping in with those specific criticisms, because the New Deal is critiqued on both the liberal and the conservative side. So people that voted for FDR still critiqued the New Deal, and people that did not vote for FDR also critiqued it. And that is what we are going to be zooming in on today. I'm going to restrict us to screen 5, where we have today's main inquiry. Today, we're answering the question, to what extent did the New Deal improve the lives of Americans and solve the problems of the Great Depression? And why was it considered problematic by so many Americans? You're going to rewrite this prompt into your own words, basically chunk it. What are the 2 questions this prompt is asking you? And then you're going to brainstorm some outside evidence alongside the New Deal's purpose. 1 minute to do this, and then we'll get started with some documents. 1 minute to rewrite the prompt in your own words and brainstorm an answer to that question. Hi, Sakina. $20 more seconds. Awesome rewrite. Awesome rewrites, Caleb, Alexis, Sierra, Kamaya, Skyanne. Awesome job. Okay, that was 1 minute, but I want to make sure we answer the question on the right-hand side of your Desmos. So if you haven't gone over to the brainstorm, what was the New Deal's purpose? I want to make sure we have that. Take 20 seconds, quickly answer that question, what is the New Deal's purpose? Because that's going to set us up for positive framing going into today's lesson. Awesome. Caleb says to help the American economy. Exactly. Ooh, Skyen using her key terms to provide relief, recovery, and reform. Merits to Skyen for including the 3 R's. Yes, relief, recovery, and reform are all super important. Great. Awesome job rewriting your prompt into your own words and brainstorming that initial question. By rewriting this prompt into our own words, we're able to make sure we're answering the correct question as we go on through the documents. I'm going to stop our pacing and I'm going to restrict us to slides 6 through 10. You're going to have 15 minutes to read and annotate these 5 documents. I might pause this periodically as we go through. Please make sure you are answering your significant statement while trying to answer that question. To what extent did the New Deal improve the lives of Americans? I'm actually going to edit the pacing so it goes through 5 through 10. So you can go back to screen 5 where the main question is. 15 minutes to complete these annotations. We'll come back for discourse. Awesome start to the class. You guys keep up that momentum. Go ahead and get started. Chat me if you have any questions. Just as a content reminder for document 1, the New Deal goes into place in 1933. For document 1, when we're looking at the dates. I see some awesome significant statements from Caleb, from Jalasia, from Kamaya, Skyen. and Shakim. Well done. Keep it up. You guys have 12 minutes. You have 12 minutes. Try to finish on document 1 and transition to document 2 in the next 15 seconds. Eddie, come on. Merits to Kamaya for including some key term evidence in her significance statement for document 2. You have 8 minutes and 45 seconds left. Seeing some awesome pacing from Alexis, Kamaya, Skyanne, Shakim, and Sierra. You should be moving on to document 3. Seven minutes and 15 seconds left. If you haven't moved on to document 3, go ahead and move there now, even if your annotations are not done. 6 more minutes. Five and a half more minutes left. Move on to document 4 if you have not done so already. You have 4 minutes left. If you haven't moved on to document 5, do so in the next 30 seconds. Even if you're not done with annotations on document 4, I want to make sure you read all 5 of them. Awesome. I see some people transferring over to document 5. Go ahead and do so now if you haven't done so already. We have 3 minutes left, and I want to make sure you're able to at least read through document 5. One more minute to finish up your reading on document 5. Shout out to all of you guys that moved over there. Okay, awesome job on annotating those documents. I'm going to send this down to slide 11, where I want to hear what your general reactions are. Did the New Deal work? Yes or no? Yes or no? Take 1 minute to choose and then explain your reason. Actually, 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes to choose and then explain your reasoning. Interesting, very overwhelming on one side. Awesome, really thorough explanations for their responses from Jalasia, Kamaya, Skyan, Shakim, Alexis, Giovanni. 1 more minute to cast your vote. I'm still waiting on about 7 people to vote. Awesome, got a few more votes in there. 50 more seconds, make sure you're explaining your reasoning. So if you're cold called, you can be prepared to defend your answer. Five more seconds. Great, and I'm gonna start from calling on 2 people, 1 from each camp, and then we'll start building on their responses. So from yes, the New Deal did work, Samaj, can you unmute and share?
I said yes, the New Deal worked because FDR made unemployment decline with his plan.
Great, and from the no side, Sierra, can you jump in?
I said no because it's like still left like black people and women like unemployed.
Awesome. Make sure to build on what Sierra and Samaj said. Awesome response. Make sure we're using evidence from the documents to support our reasoning. Can I hear now from Giovanni, then Alexis, and then Yabdi? Giovanni, then Alexis, then Yabdi.
I had said yes that the New Deal did work because in document 1,
it showed how the unemployment rates had decreased.
I said no because there's a second deal and they tried to make it better.
And Yabi.
I said that the New Deal didn't work because as Americans were put into more debt, women weren't affected by the New Deal as much as men. And it also increased unemployment, increasing problems in America.
Awesome. We're going to go back over to Alexis, who's also going to share her significant statement for document 5. One second, I need to stop my pacing so that way she can go to, there we go. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, I was keeping you guys from evidence. That's great. Awesome job remembering the evidence that you guys were pulling from prior documents. You now have access to the documents.
I said he explains how the government and state can stop giving wages to people who are not employed, but he also thinks that it is not right for the government to do such extreme measures.
Building off of Alexis's statement, we haven't answered the second part of the question. Why was the New Deal considered problematic? Why was the New Deal considered problematic? Shakeem, can you jump in?
I think it was considered problematic because I think some people they felt like it did work, but that it would lead to worse things. Like in document 4, it said at the end, it said in Let's Profit, would seem to me to be leading us fast to condition where the government must more and more expand its relief activities, which will lead to an end to disaster to all classes. And I think that just means that it will eventually lead to destroying the American society. So some people think it's going to be wrong.
Awesome. Yabdi, can you revoice what Shakeem just said for us? Can you revoice / build on what Shakeem just said? Why was the New Deal considered problematic?
I'm not totally sure on everything Shakeem said, but it was taking, I know that if it was giving more money out to businesses and giving higher wages, it will put Americans in more debt because people are getting more money, which means that they will have to tax higher. So they're just taking money more from Americans, which makes it problematic because they're giving the money and then just taking it away.
Awesome. And finally, let me hear one other reason, specifically zoning in on document 5. Why was the New Deal considered problematic? Utilizing document 5, raise your hand for some merits. Why do we think, according to document 5, it was considered problematic? Specifically looking at that last section of document 5. Go ahead, Shakeem.
I think they felt that the federal government had too many restrictions to fully help the American people get employed.
do we think that the federal government gets to do this stuff? Think about the conservative criticisms of the New Deal and then raise your hand. What were the conservative criticisms of the New Deal? And raise your hand when you think you got it. And I'll slide some merits into that kickboard. Awesome. Skyanne shared it in the chat and she is unfortunately not able to unmute right now. So I will voice what Skyanne said. She said no because they overstepped their boundaries. That is a huge criticism of the New Deal going forward with like the rest of American history is the role of the federal government and if they can and cannot do something. Awesome job with today's discourse. We have a lot of different opinions on the New Deal and if it worked, but I'm going to transition us to the exit ticket and you are going to write a full introduction paragraph. Make sure you're getting 1 point for the contextualization and 1 point for the thesis with the line of reasoning. You have to have a line of reasoning to get that thesis point. Good luck on the thesis. You will also get extra credit if you add a piece of evidence, either outside evidence or from the documents to support your argument. So there's a little extra credit opportunity at the end of this exit ticket. You have the remainder of class to do this. Chat me if you have any questions. Once I see completion of both the exit ticket and submission on Google Classroom, you guys are free to go. Also, this exit ticket is being graded, so make sure you guys are responding thoroughly. I'm seeing some awesome contextualization and thesis statements. Awesome. Shout out to Giovanni for jumping in on that extra credit opportunity. Love these contextualization statements. You guys are doing great. Make sure you, if you have it included in a contextualization statement in your exit ticket, you do that. That is half of the credit for today's exit ticket. If you're stuck, think back to what you did in yesterday's exit ticket as practice.